So I kind of had this idea that we got this big web of timestamps essentially for the 10 years we've had Dokkan around, right? And I started, by the way, if you're curious, I started after the 7th anniversary right in here. So at this point in the game's history, we were seeing characters like the gods, the 7 years, the 8 years, and I really wanted this Gohan, but I just could not get him. I could not get him, and one of the characters I could, and actually maybe it was for the best because he wasn't very good when I started playing, but all that to say is I want to take a trip down memory lane, and what we'll be doing is we'll be going through, and every time it says highlights added something, we're going to see how that's aged. So I'm going to talk about what they've added, and I'm going to go, hey, this didn't age very well, or hey, this is still a mechanic that's going strong. Obviously, we can see that there's a bunch of various things being broadcast here, from April Fools to the events and so on and so forth. So let's get into that. So here we start with Dokkan as early as 2015, and this is actually a funny thing. I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but Dokkan was a game I had downloaded before. I had tried it before, and when it had those kind of, and I don't want to be like mean, but when it kind of had the shitty early Dokkan graphics, I was just like, this is just bubble popping. I'm not really that interested, and I'm kind of grateful that I never... am I grateful? I guess having an account that's like long standing is better than not, but I'm kind of grateful I didn't burn myself out on early Dokkan, because when I came back and it was all new to me, you know, I really enjoyed just how crazy things like DFEs has gotten, and that is where we're stopping, or that's where we're starting here, which is Dokkan Awakening added. Though I don't believe those are the Dokkan Festival. Yeah, right here. First anniversary is where that actually debuted. So Dokkan Awakenings added, and the first World Tournament added. And I guess we'll start with our... What has it aged well? No. This is so obviously an old mechanic. This is so obviously ancient. This is so obviously from the first year of Dokkan, because it's stuck around and it is terrible. This is, in modern gachas, by modern gacha standards, a terrible game mode. Doesn't really matter how much you like it, doesn't matter how much I like it, doesn't matter how much I dislike it. I'm kind of neutral on it, honestly. I'll do it until I get the rewards, and then I won't do it anymore. The free-to-play characters are never that good, except the Fat Boo from like a year or two ago. So it's not really even, you're not missing out on anything. You essentially do 30 runs and then never look at this again. And it sustains as essentially the only PvP quote-unquote thing you can do in Dokkan, which is very funny because it's really bad. Yeah, didn't age well. As for Dokkan Fest, I mean, we'll scroll down here, and international versions, new languages added. Okay, I guess we'll scroll down here to the first anniversary, over 100 million downloads, where we see Dokkan Festival and Dokkan Event debuted. Dokkan Festival featured characters debuted, and we got Giant Ape transformations added. I would say that Giant Ape transformations have not aged that well. Not because they're bad mechanics, they just are essentially never super strong. The only one I can think of right now that's strong is Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Super Saiyan 4 Goku. But it's not because of the Giant Ape transformation. If you could transform that character without having to Giant Ape transformation, he'd be better. He genuinely would be better. And I know you could say, well, it could tank a super. And it's like it could, but it would just make doing Festival of Battles with him easier. And there aren't any use cases right now where you actually care about his Giant Ape transformation. The things we like right now are giant transformations, which can thankfully take 2 turns, thus, you know, burning a super from the enemy. You can't even guarantee that you'll burn the super right now with Giant Ape transformations, so that's another thing. Dokkan Festival and Dokkan Events, though, big. Dokkan Festival is something I pulled up here because it is the lifeblood of the game. Dokkan Festivals run the game. It's not that other characters aren't good, it's just that the thing we get excited for the most, the thing that keeps us coming back, are the Dokkan Festivals. But I did pull up this one in particular because of how fumbled he was, and still you have people bending over backwards to defend this character because he is a Dokkan Fest, because he does have those quality animations, and because he did headline a major celebration, right? So yeah, that's going to do it for the first year, I think, unless anything else here. Greatest Warrior, fine getting into it, but ultimately nothing really. And LRs, I mean, obviously LRs are, you know, big. LRs are major, LRs run the game. LRs, more than any of these other types of cards, actually run the game, right? So even something like this TN, who is a yellow coin LR, and we'll get to those eventually, he is much better than essentially every TUR we've gotten this year, right? So yeah, LRs aging super well, arguably better than anything that we've seen thus far in here. Yeah, so that's going to do it for year one. So now we've got the second year where we see that we got leader skills focusing on super and extreme class added. We've got categories added, or category in general, and leader skills focusing on categories added. And we can already see that extreme class in this Frieza, right? Because the high difficulty event being... Wow, is that the Prime Battle Frieza? That's so funny. Man, Dokkan was a wild place before, huh? Super elite. Goodness, man. There was just... It really does bring into perspective like the content argument when it's like, how much content is there? There's no content. There's nothing to do. I guess we're not really spoiled because I only compare Dokkan against modern gacha. I don't compare Dokkan against itself 8 years ago. I compare Dokkan to modern gacha, to what you could be spending your time on. And that's when I'm like, this isn't really, you know, the content's not hitting, that's why. April Fool's Cybermen and leader skills focus on categories added, as I said before. So let's see, that's the second anniversary, huh? So this was Dokkan releases, first anniversary, second anniversary. So we bring it down to, I guess this is kind of like a, I mean, it's an important year for Dokkan, right? Because you'd see characters like this, right? Easy A was 2016. But actually, if I'm honest, I guess that was this, huh? That was this character. 2017. Well, oh yeah, it was the GT units, right. So it would have been like, let's just say Earth Protecting Heroes, maybe, and then GT, and they'd be somewhere in here, right? So could we easily find them, or yeah, just no links? Yeah, okay, GT Heroes, and somewhere in this web, yeah, here we go. We could find the 2017 units. Okay. And that's super strength type key and extreme key. Yeah, there's the thing we're talking about. So yeah, a little bit of an interesting year for you if you played the first year, but by comparison, even by comparison to the first anniversary here, it just gets blown out of the water, right? Like, oh my god, this looked like way more of a change than this. But I'm sure if you were there, then getting these category leads was huge, right? I can't honestly compare, right? So I'm sure getting this 120 super extreme typing was crazy. Or I guess it was 50% a year, but still. So yeah, interesting. I guess we'll just move on to the third anniversary then, huh? And going into the third anniversary, we have things like the Extreme Z Awakening being added. Bless up. I don't know if like it was a big deal to you guys when it happened, but when I learned that this was a thing happening to characters, this was when I was like, oh, I kind of love Dokkan. Like, I was going through that 8 year, I didn't really understand. I didn't even understand how to awaken characters. I didn't understand how to rainbow them. I was watching YouTube guides, like, how do you even do any of this stuff? And hearing that you could like extreme Z awaken these characters so they could actually be useful was like an aha moment, because I was like, oh my god, all these characters that I missed out on, all these characters that were only strong for like a week or like a month or whatever, it was refreshing. And it adds that sense of progression to your account, that sense of actual like vested interest in keeping your account, not re-rolling, etc, etc. We've also got Super Battle Road, which Battle Road's all right. At this point, I would say that it hasn't aged the best. And did I mention any of the aging of these? I would say that leader skill categories have aged well. I think they give a lot of they're the only thing progressing this idea of like team building, whereas super and extreme class categories have not aged well at all. They're essentially useless. And I would say the same thing for type categories. So yeah, leader skills in general, though the category ones I would say aged well. Sorry if I missed out on that one. But I would say that Extreme Z Awakenings have aged incredibly well. Super Battle Road has aged pretty fucking badly. I did hear that at one point this was Dokkan's hardest content. This was like the content in Dokkan. And I would say that we're a long way away from that, right? I assume it was the red zone meta that killed that, so New skill, transformation. Transformation has aged pretty well. The only issue is that if they start making every character transform on turn 4 or turn 4 start a battle or character's 4th turn every single time, then it's like, why even make them transform? You would have to really iron out them being unique, and Dokkan isn't the best at making unique characters who are also good, and it gets into a big conversation. I would say that transformations in general have aged well monetarily because it just gives the game a lot of life. It means that we can get a Super Saiyan 4 Goku from Daima. It means we can get a Super Saiyan 3 Goku from Daima that goes Super Saiyan 4. It means we can get a Super Saiyan 2 or 1 Goku from Daima that goes Super Saiyan 3. You know what I mean? So I would say it aged well. Virtual Dokkan Ultimate Clash is something that I would say is not great. Outside of stones, it just has no reason to exist. They don't make it hard enough. It's just an account check. Once you get to a certain point, this is trivial. You do the same exact teams, the same exact run every single time, and you should never have a problem with it. Sorry if you do have a problem with it. This isn't like a dig on you. It's just that once you get used to this, it's essentially not content. It's just like a time sink, and we're at that point. So yeah, I would say that it has not aged very well. Tournament of Power commencement celebration started, and I'm not sure what that is. I assume it's because the Tournament of Power is actually going on during this, and you can see the UI Goku here. So yeah, overall, the third year of Dokkan had quite a positive impact on the game. Extreme Z Awakening is huge, and I'm sure Super Battle Road was a breath of fresh air for those people who, you know, were on the game at the time, grinding away, right? So let's get over to the 4th anniversary. So for the 4th year, we've got Dragon Ball Super Broly movie release celebration. Had to be an exciting time, right? New skill, active skill with voiced animations added. New skill, exchange added. So this would have been, exchange would be this character, right? Right? Like exchanging into another character, not so much as swapping. So think of characters not like the new tag feature, but instead characters more like, God, these characters are bad. One sec, here we go. This will count as an exchange, yeah? Yeah, exchange. So here's one of those right there. And when they released 2022, so quite a bit further down the line than our 2019 landing spot here, right? And active skills, obviously active skills are, again, one of the lifebloods of Dokkan. It's almost expected for every big time character to have an active skill of some kind. When they don't, it's usually seen as like, oh, that's it? And when they don't have an active skill that really pops, it's like pretty noticeable as well, right? So one of them in particular is like the voicing on that Kaoken Goku I brought up earlier. We can actually pull him up. The voicing on this character, people wanted to hear the screams, you know, the big time active, but they didn't really get that. So overall, I'd say Super Broly movie isn't really a thing added. So we'll just say that we don't really have to call it about aging. Active skills and exchange skills. Exchange skills I see less and less of. They seem to be almost completely replaced at this point by the swapping mechanic, the tag mechanic. And I sort of see them as a weaker, more meaningless version. Actually, let's pull up a character who recently exhibited that. So Planet Namek Saga, here we go. Here's an exchange character. You can see exchange here. And this goes into a really strong Piccolo. And like with a lot of exchange characters, this character being an exchange unit makes this character so much worse. Because instead of having access to this really strong Piccolo, and instead of them being a tag character, which wouldn't exist for another, like, you know, what's that, 3 months, he's just sort of doomed. And as well, they needed to actually fix this character's tags because he isn't a Namekian, right? Because he's Gohan. So yeah, I think exchange for its time was obviously very exciting, but long term, and especially when you go into characters who aren't just obviously like Gohan plus Trunks, who are like both hybrid Saiyans, I think it did a lot of damage to characters. That said, very exciting, had to be very exciting at the time, so I'm not knocking that. Active skills have aged wonderfully. Again, there's the thing people are super excited to see. Fighting Legend Goku has aged terribly. This event is worthless outside of missions. There's no reason to go into it. Once you have the missions done, there's just nothing to do here. That said, I did hear that the Fighting Legend event in general was considered the like content, the like testing grounds for a lot of characters, right? It and Super Battle Road. So not knocking it, just saying that we have definitely moved on. We have moved on so hard. Coins debuted as a summoning bonus reward. Coins were the only real form of quote unquote pity, even though the game did not have a true pity system. I would say that coins are just a positive. They simply act as an extra ticket that gets you cards in the future. And while Dokkan isn't the perfect game for having to wait for units to re-release, I will say that it is a function that needs to be in the game. So as far as aging, pretty good. And yeah, we'll call it the 4th anniversary. A pretty packed year, I'd say. Lots of nice additions that we now consider pretty staple. It's hard to imagine a game like Dokkan without active skills at this point. Let's move on to the 5th year. The 5th year of Dokkan Battle brought with us skill orbs, extreme super battle road, and link skill level. Wow, this is not a great looking year. Did it actually say that chain battle was added here, or doesn't look like it, but I do see chain battle right here. So just to say, even though chain battle didn't seem to be listed here, chain battle is a dud. It was good for when it lasted. I think it's fine. I don't think it was like great. I think people are either like team we love chain battle or their team we hate chain battle, and in reality it doesn't deserve that much praise. It was okay. So yeah, I think it's a failure though, because they got rid of it. That's just simple as, like, they clearly saw a problem with it and it's not here anymore. I don't think it should have gone away. It was a fine, I mean, it was like Peton to me. You just put your characters in and you got your stones and your skill orbs and you left. Extreme Super Battle Road, I would say Extreme Super Battle Road has been positive. I know again that Extreme Super Battle Road was apparently the content for, oh, this is Extreme Z Battle, sorry. I guess it would Extreme Super, would it be just challenge? No way, right? I wonder where they keep it on this site. I actually don't know. Maybe I'm an idiot. I can't find it here. But all that to say is that Extreme Super Battle Road is a good version of what it is. I think Battle Hard, actually let's go here, because I think Battle Hardened Formidable Foes, which is right here, is the ultimate version of Extreme Super Battle Road. And if that's the case, I'm going to say that Extreme Super Battle Road and Super Battle Road did age pretty well because they got us here, and Battle Hardened Formidable Foes is arguably the best content they've added in the 10th anniversary year in terms of its actual like replayability. So yeah, I would say so. Link skill levels suck. Just by the way, I did remember Extreme Battle Road's right here. Thankfully we didn't really need to pull it up, but yeah, it's right here. It's fine. Link levels suck. I link level a lot. I have like a 2 million power level, and I'm, like I said, I'm mostly free to play. But it is the definition of just time and nothing else. Like it is time, the function. I would not say it's interesting to link level. I don't think it's fun to get links to level 10. It's just necessary and you have to do it, especially if you're not a whale. So yeah, link level, meh. I would say it aged pretty poorly. It's a bad version of adding grinding. I kind of wish Dokkan just had a gear system, but I know people wouldn't agree with me. So yeah, that's 5th year. Oh, just before we move on, actually, the 5th year, skill orbs, I think skill orbs could be interesting. I don't think skill orbs should be restricted by dupes. I think they should just free that up. Skill orbs don't add much more than the actual what is it called, the hidden potential system. So I think skill orbs should be free, not free as in you get all of them, but skill orbs shouldn't require dupes at all. You should just be able to put them in. It would not change anything. So yeah, overall I think skill orbs age poorly. They're not very interesting. Support memories added, revival skill added, allowing characters of the same name but different second names to be included on the team, and Peton Battle debuted. Let's just start with Peton trash. Peton trash. Peton is just adventures from Dragon Ball Legends. It's the definition of AFK content. It's nothing. It's nothing. It's free stones. They could give you the stones, but they want you on the app, so they make you do something for it, right? It's not content. It's not a game. It's not interesting. it's Peton. Characters of a second name, same name and second name, huge for the game. Ultimately, though, it did end up fucking one character, which is, we can go to Future Saga. Dun da da da. Down. And the fact that Dokkan is just so stubborn when it comes to this is heinous, truly heinous, but it is what it is. At least it was a fix to a sort of problem, but as we can remember, this was so sad. As far as aging, I think it aged well, right? It aged well because it needed to happen. It aged well because it needed to happen, not because it was like, oh, you know, it just did so much. It's more like the game should just be this way. The game should not care at all. New skill, Revival. Revival is a very strong mechanic. I would say that Revival is a pretty fun mechanic. You see it in characters like the Universal Saga Anniversary here. Great animations, voice, cool moments from the series. It just makes a lot of sense to do characters like this, as well as powerful comeback. One of my favorite versions of Super Saiyan Goku is from the Cooler movie. Him healing the bird is just so sick. So yeah, I would say that this one is top tier. Revives, the only issue with revives is they tend to limit what they're willing to do with the character pre-revive, and I think that's pretty bad. So, you know, after character's revival, I mean, that's pretty bad. I'd say it aged well just because it is such a fun thing to have in the game, more animations, etc. But I mean, revival skills can be so swingy. Support memory, I'm not the support memory guy. I play Dokkan with no support memories, no items a lot of the time. Like, I think support memory and items just make the game free, so I tend to not use them. But it's cool to see the animations in game. I hope they continue to use animations that would otherwise never be in the game, like Krillin singing at the wedding or celebration pre Broly movie or whatever it is. I think that stuff is cool, but don't put any like good animations in support memories. That doesn't make any sense. That's not what that's for. Yeah, pretty quiet year for Dokkan, I feel like. Characters, we had a super cool Gohan. The year 6s, obviously. I mean, as far as characters went, pretty hype, right? But content-wise, 6 year seemed just okay. I remember, isn't this a year people call Super Dead? Isn't this a year that people like hated? Maybe I'm misremembering. Someone tell me. Next one coming up. I'm sure this is one of those years that you need context for. So before we even get into what they like added raw in terms of like content, I will just say that year 7 of Dokkan seems to be where a lot of my favorite animations in the game that aren't from the 9 year exist. Because 8 year was a little bit of a sloppy time for Dokkan's animations. Even someone like me who's pretty easily pleased, I could see that not everything was like on the up and up, right? A lot of good animations in it, but also a lot of like kind of stuff out of the 8 year. That said, the 7th year seems to be all bangers. A lot of the Easy A's I'm looking forward to the most are in the 7 year, not because they're my favorite characters, but just because they're so cool looking. Like, they're animated so well. So Dragon Ball Story debuted, I would say this hasn't aged very well. It's just an excuse to get stones, which is fine. I can see Burst Mode over there. Maybe this is the first debut of Burst Mode. Updated Project Version Z began. The Great Warrior revamped. This was pretty nice, just going into when I started the game. My profile debuted. Okay, you know, it's fine. It's Dokkan just hasn't done like the social aspect very well. I would say this is just both a lot of the things listed here so far have aged not very well. Ultimate Red Zone debuted. Ultimate Red Zone is keeping the game alive. All of the most interesting things that exist in the game currently are tied to the Red Zone formula. The Red Zone is Dokkan at its best. The Red Zone is forever. The Red Zone is necessary for the game's livelihood. Entrance animations are great. I think entrance animations are another one of those things that we sort of see as exciting. Usually when a character is good, it starts here, but even in this case, look how, you know, nothing this one is, right? So, but it is just exciting to get the animations on screen. It is exciting to have a character that's just sort of like fun, and like, you know, the music comes in and they get like a boost. I think entrance animations are just where a lot of characters both live and die, because sometimes their entrance animation is activated by some bullshit and they're terrible, and a lot of times they're just a fun animation that's tacked on and they're great. Entrance animations overall are a huge W. Superhero debuted, wouldn't get that for a while. Superhero's fine. Carnivals, I know this was super contentious at the time, but I will say for me, for my money, I actually like Carnivals. I know it's kind of that thing where it's like, oh my god, it's splitting the banner, it's a new banner. I don't think it matters. You should be saving in Dokkan. Like, it just is what it is. I think this is one of the times where, like, splitting the... Like, in Epic 7, splitting the banner means that Moonlight characters, which are the hard PvP characters, are, like, also the best, and they take a different type of currency. In Dokkan, you pull on the Carnival or you pull on the DFE, it doesn't really matter, right? The leader skill matters, I guess, and hopefully we see those get power crept in better, but I'm sure this is a bigger deal at the time, but I just don't have I just wasn't there. I think Carnivals being added are fine. They're just another exciting thing. International version, new languages, etc., etc. Fighting Legacy Vegeta. Okay. Overall, a pretty good year, right? A lot of things that have held over. Entrance animation is huge. Ultimate Red Zone is huge. I'd say this is probably the biggest year in Dokkan ever. So maybe outside of like the 10 year or something, or 9 year, because Ultimate Red Zone is the lifeblood of Dokkan. This year, I would say that starting in the 7th year is like the day Dokkan was really born, or like reborn. So this is a true Dokkan 2, right? So let's go to the next year. So the terrible 8-year anniversary pulls up. And I didn't mention it before, but also we got the Shenron event from the 7 year. Is it down here still? Yeah, Shenron right here. Oh my god, the Shenron Red Zone was so good. Yeah, standby skills. Support memory boost function, I'm just going to say doesn't matter. If you use support memories, fine. It's just like Dokkan essentially isn't even a game with support memories or items. It's just like... They could make it better. They could make it like so it is. But right now, support memories and items both just sort of like... I don't know, they just destroy the game, right? They absolutely crush the game. They make it so like, if you use them a ton, you notice how noticeable this is. New skill, standby skill, or new skill, standby skill. Standby skills are pretty good. I'm going to say that they did not age very well, though. I'm going to say domains didn't age very well either. And the reason I'm going to say this, and maybe it's like controversial or something, is domains, for example, are primarily put on villains, and villain teams suck, and it makes every single villain thereafter have a wonky shit team that just gets demolished essentially by having to put domains up, right? Domains are almost always just an issue of villains, and domains are just a way that villains get power crept harder than anyone else in the game, essentially. Hey, but for super units, domains are pretty few and far between, so you get cool domains like UI Goku's, who's amazing. And even though he's sort of dead now, his domain, really good. Standby skills have the same issue, though, where they can sometimes take one in their slot, and if they do, they just become fucking annoying to navigate. I would say that standby skills aren't a negative for the game overall. They've aged fine, but fine is all I can give them. Because once you start fighting for standby skill real estate, so charge counters, or, you know, we could go into categories. Charge counters are revive, counterattack, Jirens. It's just like, once you start fighting for standby, it just becomes super negative. And yeah, I guess that's it for this year in Dokkan, right? Not much, you know, not much added in terms of their highlights, right? I mean, these are pretty meager windows into the game's history. So, you know, it's not like you take this and you're like, this is all they did. But if they wanted to highlight this, yeah, not much. They didn't highlight much. 8 year of Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle is, you know, one for the history books. And the 9 year brought us the Supreme Magnificent Battle attack attraction, the taunt, as it were. I don't know why they're calling it the attack attraction. I guess it's, you know, Riz or whatever the fuck. Supreme Extreme Z Awakening. Super easy A's have been huge for the game, so I guess we shouldn't speed through this too much. So super easy A's have given so much life. And does this, wait, let me go, who should I go to? Majin Buu Saga? And we go into the TURs. And where are they? Where is that boy? I want to use him specifically as the marker, but maybe I can't even find them. My eyes are like glossing over as I look at this huge list of characters, right? This huge list of characters. Yeah, here we go. Super Easy A's have given so much life to the game, but more than anything, they've allowed characters to beef out these shitty villain teams. Holy, villain teams are the lifeblood of Super Easy A's. Aging perfectly, aging like wine, the 9 years goated. Super Extreme Battles. The Super Extreme Battles are fine. I would say that, let's see. So how many are there now? We have this one, obviously, this one, and this one. And I think that's the last one. So Super Magnificent Goku, where we fight, this full power Jiren. Before that, I mean, was there any really that in my mind that I can be like, yeah, this was the fight? Not really. I think this one was kind of whatever. This one is so bad. This one was really good. This has arguably the best fight Dokkan's ever come up with, Goku and Frieza. Goku and Frieza, the only reason this fight isn't more beloved by everyone is because it wasn't on global at the same time. If the schedules were synced and this was on global the entire time, everyone would understand this is the best fight ever. Still, we have people being like, oh, Broly reset the game, Omega Shenron, yada, yada, yada. This is the best fight Dokkan's ever come up with. So good. And this was pretty good as well. Gohan and Gogeta were both really fun fights. This guy had a counter, nullifying, and this guy was, he was Gogeta. He had an AoE, he did a bunch of damage. Super fun fight. So I think overall I'd say, it's been good and bad, certainly, right? But it does have the best fight ever in Dokkan, which is Goku and Frieza. So I'm going to say it's aged pretty well. I'd like to see more, though. Taunt has been challenging. Let's say that. Taunt has been challenging. I think overall, Taunt is a pretty fun mechanic, but on Beast, so can we just say that like a lot of these mechanics are just sort of way too strong on like super units? Because I think of Taunt and I think of Cell Max and I'm like, this is the perfect strength. This is the perfect strength of Taunt. But Vegito and Beast Gohan are just so strong that when they get Taunt, when this character gets Taunt, it just invalidates the entire game. And for a while, Beast was doing that, right? The only difference is Beast didn't, turn into this and then instantly kill the boss. Beast just like tanked for your rotation. So it was much more balanced, but yeah. I'd say Taunt has been a success. The unification of the operation schedules of the Japanese and international versions, holy moly, this was a shit show. The sync was handled awfully, but I think overall it has been better. People have been saying that there's been more bitching, sure, but I think the games needed to be synced. The games need to be synced. We need to be able to play together. We need to be able to get excited together. The 9th anniversary is proof of that. Yeah. And yeah, that's Dokkan, right? That's Dokkan through the years. More to come. I'm not going to comment on anything in the 10th anniversary or 10th anniversary year because it's been, I've shared those thoughts enough. But yeah, quite the little trip down memory lane, right? A great year, a great game. Dokkan is super fun. May it have 10 more years. You know what I mean? With all that being said, though, I've been Lone. Like you like the video, starting on the club, we'll go make it, and peace.